Hello, 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 hello. It's Mark Attwood here, the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures of the Cosmic Suits. I've said that about 8,000 times now. That's quite a lot. You'd think I'd know how to say it by now, wouldn't you? How's it going? It is Monday, the 29th of April. Currently filming this at 3:15 in the post-meridian. Now, I just want to say a couple of things before I carry on. Firstly, for those of you who are still doom and gloom, go to my Twitter and watch this if you've never seen it. This is George H.W. Bush's funeral. That's the moment the witch got her note. Yeah, she had to have a second look. And then a bit further along, Laura Bush in this is amazing. She's also a witch. Jeb Bush's face, watch this. Fuck! We're fucked! Just remember that. Just remember that. It doesn't matter how dark it is. It doesn't matter because God has already won this. But we have to stand up and do something. Speaking of which, just before I get my guests on, the video I did on Friday with Gary Waterman has now had over 100,000 views. Thank you, everybody that shared that on Twitter. Twitter is throttling that video. It went whoop, and then it sort of went, it's being throttled. It's also on YouTube. It's on Bitchute. I put it on Telegram this morning. It's well over 100,000 views. If you have shared that, thank you very much. I'll just pull it up to make sure that you all know what I'm talking about. Because if you go onto my Twitter feed, you'll find it on here. And it's ex-British policeman Gary Waterman with hard evidence linking the British government and others. Here it is. It's called, Is This Satan's Al Capone Moment? 66,000 views on here. That video, go to Twitter, share it, please. It's irrefutable evidence. And this is where we're at. We need irrefutable evidence to back up the things people like me have been going on about for years. But at the same time as exposing what they're doing, we need to be building the future. Because how do we build the future when we're up against a multi-trillion-dollar machine designed to enslave and eat us? Well, let's get my friend Catherine on. Hello, McBean.
All right, sir. How's it going?
Very well. How are you?
Really good. Really good. I love what you were saying because we can take down the old, but what's left then? So it's time to build the new. And do we wait until everything's crashed and crumbled, or do we get on with it? And that's where I come in.
Me too.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. So we've
Yep.
got a friend of yours coming on, Paul Leclerc. Do you want to introduce Paul before I bring him in?
Yeah. Paul's got a long and seasoned, if you like, professional career in consultancy work. I mean, he can give an overview of what he's been up to, but there's a lot of it to do with business change and business transformation. And so Paul is absolutely perfectly placed to come up with models of moving, if you like, I'll use the terminology so everyone understands, taking current businesses from a 3D model into the 5D. And there's a lot of people waking up now and they're suddenly thinking, okay, things are shifting, things are changing. How do I take my business into the new world, if you like, our new world, our new way of doing things? And I've worked with Paul, he's come up with some models and we want to get it out there. You don't want to wait until the ball's dropped, you want to deal with it before the ball drops. And we're heading faster and faster that day. Woohoo! But at the same time, we've got to get on and get the new built because as those that are asleep wake up, they're going to see a void potentially. And we know those voids often get filled by people with less than good intention. So the point is to not have a void and to have options and models and different ways of doing things. And as you work on that, and I work on that, and many, many others work on that, what Paul's bringing is an answer to a piece of the puzzle that's missing. And so, yeah, he's a good chat, that one.
Fantastic. Just before I bring him on, if you're watching this for the first time, this show, I just want to remind you that this is the Healing Wellness Centre that we set up. There's Gary. We set this up in the west of Ireland nearly a year ago as a private members association, and it's donation based. It's impossible to regulate it, impossible to tax it. It's all about showing people the way and healing people. That's what I'm doing. And I saw a show with Paul and Catherine a few weeks ago, and I was like, let's get this guy on because I'm always interested in people that have solutions. So please welcome Paul Leclerc. Hello, Paul.
Hello. Well, what a high end sort of entry. Intro. Yeah, I hope I can kind of keep me end up with it. But yeah, we've got one of the hyperbaric chambers in Poole in Dorset near me. So that's apparently doing some amazing things. But lovely to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Let's dive straight in and talk about, firstly, what is the issue that we're faced with as awakened souls that want to build a better world, and what solutions can you see that people can start moving towards or start implementing in their lives or their businesses from today?
Yeah, well, we've got kind of a foot in both camps at the moment. There's a foot in the 3D world where all the reality of the old world still milling around and still there, not quite fallen over completely yet. And then there's the 5D kind of new earth golden age and whatever that means. And the question is that, you know, we're going through our individual journeys, we're going through holistic community building journeys more and more now as well. But what's happening in the business world? And, you know, as I said on Catherine's podcast, a lot of my feeds on the 35 years of business change, consulting, training, coaching, leadership coaching, strategic change, and innovation. I'm looking at these feeds coming up through LinkedIn, and it's the same stuff I was seeing like 20 years ago, just rebranded a bit or titled up. So where's the big change coming from? And I think what this is indicating to me, and my spiritual insights as well that I get a lot of, is that the business world is largely still in a controlled narrative space where the things that we talk about all the time are happening more and more, but there are either weak signals or no signals coming into their strategic planning processes. And a lot of people may still be close to that. I'm talking about big businesses there, but then smaller businesses are starting to open up and want to do new things, to enter new markets or create new innovations, and kind of go, well, what are the building blocks and how are they different from the old world where you needed a 3-inch thick business plan to do anything, compared to, well, if I start with a purpose that really excites me and a passion that really engages me and fuels me, and then I go and find out other people who share that passion and share that interest, then all of a sudden I'm creating energy and enthusiasm and sparks between people. And then we can go off and decide what we want to do together. But this idea of working out on a business plan this thick, exactly what's going to happen 3 years next Wednesday, is just fantasy island now, isn't it?
It is, and I think it's really interesting the way you position that, because I've been in business for 35 years on and off, and what I noticed in the last maybe 15 years is this whole new way of doing business, which I actually believe is demonically driven, and that is the idea of the startup, and then the fintech companies, and then all the blockchain companies that are on the side, which was all about, oh, here's a disruptive idea, now go and give me billions of your money, and then I'll go and make it happen. It's like, for example, if I'm searching for organic clothes because I genuinely want organic cotton clothes, I'll go into Google, I'll type in organic men's t-shirt, and I'll find a list, pages and pages and pages of sites going organic t-shirts, sustainable, recycled, and they're all fighting climate change, and there's recycled plastic, and they're saying they're organic, and I can't find the fucking organic t-shirts. It's like if I go to a new tropics company that says all our ingredients are organic, oh, and we've also slipped in some aspartame and some sucralose. It's like all looking like that. So they're hijacking that space, making it look as if, but still following exactly the same bollocks that they were following before. And I remember setting up my first business. Well, my first limited company was in 1991, I think. It was called the Manchester Publishing Company Limited. And I remember going, I was like, I have to buy a company off. Right. So I go there. Oh, that's 100 quid here. Then I have to have an accountant. Then I have to go to the bank. And then they want this, like you said, a big business plan. And I was like, so then I learned the art of making things up because none of it means anything. And then you go to the bank and say, yeah, I need 2,000 quid. You're a student. What do you want 2,000? Well, because I've got this business idea. Back then, you could actually talk to a bank manager, and I could talk them into lending me money, and I could put things on, and I got businesses off the ground. But what you just said really resonates with me, because it is all about the energy and I think the thing that's missing is the there's a couple of things. There's the desire to serve. I mean, most businesses are created because there's a problem and it solves a problem, but it's the desire to serve in an open source way, because my whole career is tainted with people ring fencing their knowledge and holding it here. And I've always said to people, you're going to give away your best information. Always give away your best information. And they're like, what? No, it's mine. It's mine. And I'm going to contain it over here. And I've got to patent it and copyright it and all of this. And I've got to make a profit. And every single business I've ever been involved with, the ones that focus on the profit are the ones that go out of business or end up in jail or something else. And that's always happened. The ones that are out to serve and are free and open and honest always survive and thrive. What do you think to all that I've just
spouted? I think that's some great points there and really good. I mean, the idea of having, what is your legacy in the new world? You know, there's a lot of repurposing that will be needed for businesses that are doing kind of things that aren't in service to the higher ideals of where we're going. There's going to be some cultural issues, like what does unity consciousness look like in a working culture in an organization? I've done lots of culture change programs across bigger companies, but it's also the same in smaller companies. And it boils down to some very simple things like, how do we get along together? What have we got in common rather than what separates us? And how do we kind of focus on the same powerful purpose and passions that ignite us into doing work together? And we're not held together by rules and boundaries and job titles. We're held together with this glue of excitement that we're creating something positive for the world. We're creating a positive legacy through our collaboration and cooperation together, which is going to be the new keywords: competition, market share, you know, trying to kind of get one over on your competitors and all of that greed and corruption stuff. That's gone. In the new world, that's all gone. That doesn't even exist. So people are really just building connections with each other who are on the same frequency, and you're finding your high vibe tribes to work together as well as live together. And those are the, first of all, you're raising your own individual vibration through all the revelations and insights we're getting access to now, like we've never had before. Then we're actually finding our high vibe tribe through our local communities, community action groups, PHA, PFFA, all of the wonderful work that they're doing and coming together around, again, a purpose and a heartfelt passion. And then the business world is going to be the same, but you know, you've still got a lot of blocks in the business world about what the purpose of being in business is. I mean, if the purpose of being in business is to make money, then you've lost it, because in the future, when we get the wealth redistribution processes going on and everyone gets more than enough money that they need to kind of do whatever they want within their life, then, you know, you talk to HR directors and HR managers or CEOs and they say, well, if that happens, how much of your workforce would rock up? If that happened over the weekend, how many people would rock up on Monday morning to show up for work if they had all their financial needs met? So we're talking about taking the money that's been held as the slave system and the scarcity. And I noticed your example earlier about, here's how you do a business and you get your business model, then you go and find funding as the next thing. I'm suggesting that's different. We go and find people that share the same purpose, and then we can co-create solutions for funding, mobilization, execution, and whatever else we need to look at. So it's things like that. It's not saying money comes out of the equation, but it's saying it's not necessarily the primary driving force anymore as we move to change towards this new Earth Golden Age model, which sounds all like, you know, la weirdo, you know, it's not grounded. So we're trying to make some grounded steps towards this incredible new world.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you said that as well, because it's we're in a bridging time right now, and like, as you were saying that, I've been trying to explain 5D to my eldest daughter for years, and she turns around, she goes, "That sounds shit, Daddy. Who's going to clean the toilet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good point. I couldn't really explain." I said, "There's somebody out there who wants to clean." Actually, self-cleaning toilets. That's the answer. That is the answer.
Everyone shares. Yeah,
exactly. And there are also aspects to this all the money that we need type thing that I want to cover off, but I want to bring in Catherine, because Catherine has the PFFA letters after her name here, and the PHA letters that you just mentioned, which is the People's Health Alliance and the People's Food and Farming Alliance. Have I got it right this time?
Yes, you have. Yeah.
Yes. That's a result for me. And I've been supporting Catherine since I found out about her, and I love the ideas behind this. The bridging side of it is the interesting thing. We had meetings 2 years ago when I've been saying this consistently to anybody that's doing anything that's like volunteer based, for example. It's like, well, we're still in the 3D, and we've still got to feed ourselves, and we've got to still feed our kids. And how are we going to keep this going while the monetary system is still there? And so I've got a very, very pragmatic view about this. How's that going, Catherine?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The people are getting on with it. The people are doing it. We've got farmers starting to listen. I've got a private day I'm forming with a bunch of farmers to come down and speak to scientists, one that we both know, my friend, who can mitigate impacts of things like geoengineering and so on and so forth. So farmers are starting to become more aware. It isn't looking good in terms of food production for the UK for this year, but from a PFFA point of view, the fact that we're getting so much engagement at the moment is wonderful, because it shows people want to do it. We've got people sending it. So many people are starting to cook from scratch because they've seen our posts. So many people are growing food because they've seen our posts. So many people are forming community growing groups because they're starting to understand that we can achieve food sovereignty in this country, but we're all going to have to come together and make it happen. And so in terms of the PFFA, it's wonderful. In terms of food production, we're looking a bit cagey, and we know why, what's going on. But yeah, and the PHA as well. The hubs are growing and growing. As time goes on, more and more people are becoming aware. So what's been wonderful is all those people that have thrown themselves into this stuff for the last couple of years, because you're now showing foundations to those that wake up that there's something else there. So that fear when they first wake up that, oh, the whole system's screwed, all of a sudden they're realizing, oh, hang on, there's something else happening, and it's being done by we the people. And it's a very much similar ethos. And Paul, I think you should know, I just had a couple of emails before we came live from people who've just seen our podcast, and what is interesting is they are now inspired to start their own business, not just transform a current model. They want to start a new business. So I think, you know, we've got to open this option up to those out there who genuinely are looking to start some sort of enterprise, want to get support, because we can help guide you through that process, help show you the different models that we've got. And then Paul and others that are doing fantastic work can then work one-to-one or similar. And I think personally, Mark, the three of us should talk about putting together some sort of conference as well, because how many businesses out there's people becoming aware, but they just don't know quite what to do. And that's where the three of us and I'm sure others can come into play and say, actually, guys, we've got some modeling, we've got the ideas, we understand the ethos, we understand and get to know their business so they can guide it through. But what is beautiful is the fact, and I had someone laugh at me the other day, and I don't give a shit. We're going from what is a profit-driven economy to one which is more of a love-based economy, a heart-based economy, something that actually puts people first. And it sounds a bit cliched, but it's bloody true. And let's face it, I said on the podcast as well, I could never go back to working with some company that's purely profit-driven. Ever, never again. Could my integrity allow me to do that? So if I feel that way, you can bet your bottom dollar a lot of other people feel that way. And if businesses or enterprises don't start looking at this now and making the relevant adjustments, they're going to lose a bunch of staff, and they're certainly going to lose a bunch of customers. So now's got to be the time.
Okay, so I'm going to leave links to you guys beneath this video. You guys watching, I'm also going to leave a link to a thing called the Sovereign Mastery course, which me, Gary Keeley and Peter Wilson have just finished delivering over 6 weeks, which is for anybody that wants to understand how to set up themselves as a man or a woman in the still using the system, but then in a and what you just said, sorry,
you froze there for a minute. We got you back.
Yeah, God damn it. Where did I get to? Where did I freeze?
Just after you'd mentioned the Sovereign Mastery course, and the three of you guys were 6 weeks.
Well, you guys watching that, go and have a look at that if you want to join it, because it's now a self-contained course of about 15 hours instruction, which is phenomenal. But it's a step. The thing is, this is such a process. It's taken me years. I mean, I've been looking at sovereign stuff for at least 10 years, And it's taken me a long time to actually start implementing it in a real world business situation. And one of the reasons for that is because apart from the fact that we're all brainwashed, and we have to undo that first, we have to find the courage to stand up, because we don't want to be attacked by the police or by bailiffs or by banks, or, you know, none of us like that confrontation. So there has to be a way through, and that's why I call this the bridging time. But also the waters have been muddied throughout our lives in terms of what kind of business model or what kind of model to organize society on actually works. And it's been muddied by these binary ideas of capitalism and communism at the extreme ends. And I can tell you, if you're watching this, we've never had capitalism, right? We've never had it. Go and read a book called Life After the State, written by Dominic Frisby, who's going to be a guest of mine in a few weeks. You'll understand when you read chapter 1 of that book why we've never had pure capitalism. So anybody that says, oh, capitalism doesn't work, it creates all the inequality. No, that's not true. It's the cabal that have created all the inequality and all the poverty worldwide. They've blamed capitalism. Not true. The same way that we have not ruined the planet. It's not the human race that is causing all the problems with whatever they call climate change. All the pollution has come from them. All the deforestation has come from them. Nothing to do with market forces and capitalism. By the same token, communism has killed more people than anything else in history. All right. So we have to be very careful when we're hearing terms like this about what is the right way. Is it profit centered, or is it this centered? Or don't let those terms put you onto those rail tracks of defining it, because this is an entirely new way forward that we're trying to get to, which is not that easy to explain, especially if people have not been in business or have never run anything from the ground up. What do you say to all of that, Paul?
Well, yeah, great. I mean, there are models and frameworks that take complicated things and sum it up in a picture. So a lot of these things is a picture's worth 1,000 words. So how we communicate can start with just some visual concepts and analogies and metaphors of what typically our nature does things, and that will help kind of decomplicate a lot of these things, because part of the cabal and all the influences they have is to keep us in here, is to keep us locked into this headspace where we're doing acrobatic somersaults all the time to figure out bloody completely useless and irrelevant things anyway. You know, for example, politics. You know, you just create an argument, create a discussion, and then you go into different positions. You just debate things that actually have no bearing on, in many cases, with we the people, what the real needs are. So we've almost got to, as you said a bit earlier, both of you were saying about having mind shifts and mindset shifts, and shifting our priorities about what's most important for us in our life on an individual level, on a heart-based level, and then moving into, well, so what the hell do I do about that then? Because I feel like a square peg in a round hole. I'm in this job and I really hate it. I hate my boss. The culture's crap. I've got really bad relationships. I'm looking for something else. So what's my calling? So we start to look at things like maybe Ikigai or some of the other models. And again, I'm just throwing some names around. People can research this themselves if they want, where you start to look at what's my passion? What do I love doing? What does the world need? What could I make some money from? And, you know, and bring that together as a little self-assessment process. And this idea of actually leaving behind the things that no longer feel right, and being brave enough and courageous enough to find your new tribe, leave your old tribe if necessary, and actually move into a new level of connections where when you talk together and you spark up each other, magic happens, and you're creating things at a much higher rate and frequency and progress level than ever before. And I was reminded in the earlier discussions with Catherine, 15 years ago or so, I was doing some consulting with an emotional intelligence company, and they did training and coaching and workshops and stuff, and I did some of that. But I was researching some of the marketing and repositioning what they were doing, and I came across this research paper, which I'll have to do. I think it's from a business school somewhere in America, talking about about 80 to 85% of the potential of people in a workforce is lost, is not really tapped into. Yeah. It's like massive. I couldn't believe the number. It like fell off my chair. Oh my God. I mean, it's like over 3/4 of the latent potential in people. And this is what you see when things like PHA happen. When PHA is in 23 countries over the world, 70 hubs in the UK, in what, less than 2 years, with a shoestring budget. It hasn't had all the bloody financial backing. There is a gap there at the moment, I think, in terms of where do you find funding for these new projects if you don't want to be funded by the 3D kind of illusionary things. But what's been done there? That has just been through pure people power. So when we unleash this we the people power, then we better bloody hold on to our hats, because big things are going to happen very quickly. And that we've no precedent for that in the past, apart from certain examples that, you know, someone was able to unleash their full potential with a small group perhaps and make rapid progress. That's going to be happening more and more, I feel. And those are the kind of sparking of those things that Catherine and I are so passionate about creating and assisting and nurturing.
I totally agree. Catherine, what's it been like? I mean, you started the PHA, what year was it, 21?
So we launched in 22. I started working on it in 21. We launched early 22. Yeah.
Just for those that might not have seen you at all before, just give me the 30-second version of it. What's it all about?
So yeah, PHA set up. It's based on an integrative approach to health, but what we're doing is bringing power back to the people. So it's localized hub groups in your community, health hubs being built with a plethora of different modalities and healers and practitioners involved. But it's very much about how we take responsibility for our own health as well, and make sure we do it at community level. Very similar to PFFA, except this is food hubs, and it's how we grow food at a local level, connect with farmers, build localized infrastructure so they can take out the middlemen like the supermarkets and large processors. And as a result, all of this will make us healthier, and it'll bring power back to us and back to communities.
Okay, can you or Paul or both of you explain to me how we get away from the biggest problem when you have a great idea, and that is the centralization of that problem, and then the associated problems that come with the top down kind of. I mean, I'm thinking at the top of my head, I'm thinking about, I used to believe the NHS was a phenomenal idea. I used to think that Lord Robbins after the Second World War, saying education is a right and should be free for all, and I was banging my socialist drum in my 20s at the Students' Union at Manchester Polytechnic saying,
we've all been there.
Yeah, and I was saying this was brilliant, this is the right way for, I mean, without realizing I was going to be completely brainwashed, and I'd missed the point entirely about how that was a control mechanism for taking away people's sovereignty and getting rid of anybody's individual ability to think for themselves or look after themselves. So how do you come up with an amazing idea like the PHA and move that forward? The same as the PFFA, and in particular with the PFFA, I found that interesting because the no farmers, no food thing, you've kind of come back with more farmers, more food, which I think is absolutely right from a spiritual perspective and those that understand the law of attraction, etc. And also there has to be this massive educational piece in what you're doing as well, because people see it and go, that's a great idea, but what does it mean exactly? Because, and then you've got, and you might have discussed this before, like the issue with the farmers is that a percentage of them think it's just an economic problem from Tesco's, etc., without realizing there's this much bigger plan afoot to destroy farming. How do you not contain it, but how, once the genie's out of the bottle, once the idea is out there running, how do you stop it being pulled back into the demonic forces and taken over and being used for nefarious stuff?
It's got to be the people. So this is why anything that we've done, we've never taken large investment for. If everything comes back to community and people on the ground are doing it, you've got far less opportunity for the bad guys to infiltrate and take control of it and do what they want with it. It's also about people understanding their power, and timing is key. So I came up with the idea back in about 2014, 2015, tried to do something with it called Community Compassion. Clearly wasn't the right time. So I just waited. And the time is right. And the reason I think it's successful is because we let people know how powerful they are. We remind them they have lawfully, morally, ethically, whatever way you want to put it, they are absolutely in the right position, and they're more than capable of doing it. And when we come together, it makes us realize we don't need a central government telling us what to do. We don't need the central banks telling us what to do. We don't need a highly medicalized health system telling us what to do. So much of it we can do already. We can do ourselves. The only thing thing that is stopping us is this. That is
Yeah.
it. That is it. If you want to make it happen, I mean, I've got a friend called Mark. He set up a food hub in Suffolk. It cost him £1,000. It's up. It's running. He's serving all the people in the local area already. He did it in 6 weeks.
Can you get him on my
shows
show?
you what can be done. Hey,
Can you get him on my show? I want to talk to him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Brilliant.
make that one.
Yeah.
And it shows what. Go on, Paul. Sorry, mate.
I just want to add to that, because there's a couple of things about devolving the strategy into the local areas instead of this whole centralized thing. So empowering the local communities to stand up, get together, and take ownership of what's going on in their local area, not being expecting someone else to still spoon feed them from the local authorities or the councils and so on. I mean, a lot of well-meaning people in those organizations, but they're being driven by top-down dictates of what they can and can't do. So that needs kind of reversing. And kind of a lot of it is the key principles of flipping, isn't it? Is where we've got all this kind of, maritime law and all this stuff that's governing us. And actually the natural law and our own law as men and women is at the bottom, the lowest form of. If we can flip that, then that comes with our power and authority in our local areas. And we're actually looking for local funding then from businesses, groups, or whatever that are coming together to try and find ways to fund on a gradual basis. So you don't need a budget for a 5-year plan. You need something to get through the next 6 to 12 months, maybe, which might be a lot less money that you're talking about than all the where's my nearest venture capitalist. Also trying to actually demonstrate, as we've been doing with Positive Living Communities the last 18 months, really working to support and assist the ideas and the design of communities that actually meet the human needs that exist within a normal person, a normal man or woman or boy or girl. So there's basic human needs, typically Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And then you start to identify particular types of hub, like health hubs, like community hubs, like growing hubs, but also lawful hubs. This is where your sovereignty and your advice and guidance can come from. Enterprise hubs to enable people to develop their own local trading ecosystems of providers and service providers. And then to have a library and a repository of resources, assets, that can be utilized again on that community, local or regional basis. So we doing away with these global supply chains, and we're actually starting to centralize, not centralize, but decentralize our resources into the local areas. And then we connect the dots of need, where some area has got a surplus of this, they can export some of that to another local or regional community area. And it's that model. So we're inverting the government model of top down into this bottom up empowerment process that can evolve and grow in an organic way, like your shirts that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's extremely and what Catherine said earlier about us doing an event, I 100% agree with. We've got 15 minutes left of this show, so we will come back and we'll talk about that off air, because I had a vision last year of doing a 5D business summit, but it was an idea that wasn't quite ready, and I needed to prove that it could be done first. And now I think we're at that stage where all of these ideas can come together, because it is about education and empowerment at the moment. It's just getting people to realize how powerful they are. And I'll just give you an example. The town that I live in used to have all its electricity supplied by the mill. The machine that created the electricity from the river that's running through this town is a monument sat on the right roadside, and everybody drives past it and thinks, oh, they're the good old days, without realizing what they're looking at. What they're looking at is true independence that got taken away by the government in Ireland and in every town across the world where the cabal have been in control. Now, I look at a town like this, for example, and I see the river running through it, and there's technology right available. I'm not talking about free energy devices. I'm talking about stuff you can go and buy right now. And there are little turbines that you can stick into the side of a riverbank. You put 50 of those in this riverbank here, the whole town's powered for free. You change everybody's life overnight, right? But how do you go and do that? when you've got a river authority that will come and take it away, or you've got the police that will come and fine you for desecrating the riverbank, and then you've got a local council that has an officer that comes and says, well, you haven't done this, that, and the other, and then you've got the electricity board that comes out and says, hang on, you're bypassing our system. That's what a lot of people watching this is the kind of question I think they'll be asking. So what are the answers to that?
Well,
the answer is, I'm going to jump in, Paul, really quickly, because I feel quite passionately. We absolutely are crossing a bridge right now. Now, what we need is courage. We need backbone. We need bravery. It is as simple as that. It is standing your damn ground and holding the line. Because what you do now, when you put yourself out there and hold the line, is you are protecting generations to come. Remember that. You are protecting generations to come. So this is not a time for people to think, oh, God, I might get in trouble. Ooh. No, you come together, you bring numbers, because we outnumber them millions to one. You know, we outnumber them, and you put your foot down and you go to your local council and you push back and you talk to that river authority and you become a pain in their butt and you get people to sign things. You absolutely stand your damn ground and hold the line. This is the time to do it. We are in the middle of this fight. People think we're at the beginning. No, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're actually heading quite closely towards the end now, I'd say. But we're still very much in the middle of it. This is almost a breaking point. If you back down now, you fuck it for everyone else. Now is the time to stand your ground and hold the line, and do not back down and do not concede, and pull people together, because the people waking up are in droves now, Mark. I mean, you see it. They're in droves now. If ever there was a time to pull people together, and this is why it's got to be decentralized, because our power is at local community. If we try and take on central government as individuals, we're not going to get anywhere. If we come together at our local community and take on our local governments and other, you know, organizations as such, we stand a much better chance of making a difference and making it happen. So do not back down. Sorry, Paul, I had to get in because I get quite passionate.
No. There's no stopping what can't be stopped, comes to mind from a film that was anyway. But yeah, if I can throw my couple of moments in, this is a challenge for community assemblies or community groups that we've had as let's say the trial attempt at this coming together. Some people have left those groups, who've seen those fade away because they've not really been doing anything, or there's been perhaps quite a bit of fear-mongering going in there, which has switched a lot of good people off. And so it's trying to create the vibe in your community, local community group, that makes that an attractive group to become a part of, to stay in and to really have fun together. Because if you can't have fun doing stuff, it's the wrong stuff. You ain't got the right energy coming in. And so community assemblies, I believe, are where that starts to become a priority. So if you want free energy, then you start to do what is necessary in your community to source these devices, these turbines, and to be, if like we developed a maturity matrix for community assemblies about 12 months ago, and it had a series of criteria. And it said, yeah, if you're this level, you're kind of at bronze. Then it was silver, then it was gold. One of those was a safe pair of hands as a criteria. And at the gold level, it was, you as a community are responsible enough to take on distribution, the proper distribution of like energy devices, or whatever the latest med beds, or whatever the latest innovations are that are coming through, waiting to come through when we're ready. And you are able to fairly and equitably distribute those devices throughout your local community. And that's not waiting for the council to do it for you. That's stepping forward and doing it as an empowered group of we the people. So I believe there's another type of transformation that's necessary in the holistic society models to make people brave and courageous and confident enough to stand against the the tyranny and the old mindsets, to stand together and then to be able to proceed with those high priority needs for their local community. And this is where we have businesses then starting to more clearly get community focused, community integrated. And we have things like on the board or on the top team, you have a new position created for community integration director or community support manager or whatever it is. And that person is as important as the HR guy or girl. It's that having a real presence in the top team to push the connection into the community, and then enable the community to work with that business more seamlessly and profitably.
Well, yeah, it is important that while we're in this financial system, you do have to be profitable, because you will go under if you're not. So I agree with that. There's a few things that come to mind with some of the things you said, such as med beds and such as money in the future and stuff like that. What I've seen from people who are very good-hearted and very well-intentioned is, well, we're going to get the med beds tomorrow, and we're going to get the ERVs going to happen. We're going to have millions of pounds, but there are people dying right now. There are people starving right now. What are we doing today? And one of the issues with that is that when I've seen people, for example, there was an event I was supposed to be speaking at last year in Ireland that got closed down as I was driving to the event by shills that rung up the venue and said these are Nazis and white supremacists, and then the venue shit themselves and closed it down. If I run an event here and talk here locally, it will be only attended by the people that are already awake, and that is a very small minority of the population here. And then I will be chastised online, and then the venue will be called up, and they call me a white supremacist, Nazi, English fascist, and then they're constantly trying to close down our healing center. I mean, how do we cross that bridge right now?
Oh, is he frozen? He might have frozen this time.
He's frozen, yeah.
Oh, he's back in. You all right, Paul?
It's all frozen a bit. Yeah, I'm in. It's Mark's.
We've got 6 minutes. Go for it.
Wheel of Doom. Oh, we're all on the Wheel of Doom.
Oh,
we're back.
No, just you. You're the frozen one at the moment. It's your. You've had the worst internet connection so far, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Catherine, dive in while Paul's getting his internet connection back online.
It's a difficult time. I mean, a lot of people feel kind of pretty doom and gloom at the moment. I think a lot of this is going to be an energy shift. I'm moving to that topic because it's important that people understand that if we can all raise our vibration, that will ripple out. And it is the same ethos with when you're building the new. So the more that you do, and I'm talking about business and enterprise as well as food, farming, health, whatever, education. We didn't mention that. Another biggie. The more that we do, the more that we are going to raise our vibration together. And the more we raise our vibration and people see things changing, they'll come and have a look and they'll get involved. Now, what we don't do well as humans is accept change. Let's face it, we're not particularly good at it overall. No. But that we're going to have to, because things are going to change. They're going to shift. But I think by going into things with a certain mindset and keeping your vibration high, and let's everyone remember the highest vibration is love. It is. I know it's cliched. I know that, but it is absolutely true. And if we can approach health, food, farming, business, everything in a high vibration, others are going to feel it. You know that. I mean, I can walk into a room and I can be vibing really high and I know it's working because I walk in and everyone turns and looks at me, not because I'm looking a particular way or I'm a particular person, because I am pulsing out that love. I am pulsing out that energy and they can feel it and they turn around and they look at me and they smile and they're drawn towards me. And this is the same ethos that will happen throughout everything you do in your community. If you do it in the right vibration, you're going to attract people. They're going to come to you. And if you run your business with that level of vibration, you're going to attract clients, you're going to attract customers, you're going to attract future employees, you're going to attract partners and collaborators. And people underestimate just how powerful this is. And this is our power. This is our power. So step into it and your business will thank you for it. And your employees and your customers will thank you for it. And your partners will thank you for it. Do not underestimate this. And it is that simple. I'm sorry to bottom line it, but it is that simple.
Brilliant. If I could add something as well, just to complement that. I mean, well said, Catherine. Waiting for external events, giving your power away. It's really that simple. People have died waiting for the RV to happen. I was talking about the RV in QFS 2 or 3 years ago, thinking, oh, we're almost there. I've stopped. I mean, I've not talked about it for 2 years. It's like ridiculous because you set expectations. But so this is an inside-out job of creating our world. This is about owning our ability to manifest on a whole different level. And when we start to believe in that, we are really the genies in the lamp that are about to be released from captivity. And when we get out, we've got to demonstrate we're responsible, wise, and self-assured enough to not blow ourselves up in the first 5 minutes, because we've got anything we want to create happening. We've got to show that we're wise and responsible creators. But it's all within us, and we have no idea how powerful we truly are inside ourselves. So that's how I would just add that in. And when we radiate that level of confidence and self-assuredness, other people are attracted on that vibration and frequency. We go back to the magic happening, and things just, synchronicities, spontaneous events, and things just start to flow. You find you flow, you're getting into this juice of creativity.
And grace at ease.
And
Everything happens with grace at ease when you do that. Sorry, Catherine, go on.
yeah, I was going to say, you're absolutely right, Mark, because when you get it right, and I've got it lots wrong, and when you get it wrong, it feels like you're trying to push a boulder up a hill.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. Everything becomes a lot more difficult. So what I do is I stop, I realign, review, start moving in a different direction that feels right. And then all of a sudden, everything's moving smoothly and you know you're going in the right direction. And what I'd say to people out there, I know we're just about to tie up. If you have a company, if you have a business, if you have an enterprise, if you're looking to start a business or an enterprise, and you want to understand how we take it from a 3D model into a 5D model, do get in touch with Paul. I'm going to ask him to give out his email address in a minute. I think I know it. Do get in touch with Paul, because we're going to start holding some meetings soon, private meetings to start with, sharing some of the ideas that we've got and how this modeling can create. We've got a presentation for it, and then starting to work with people individually. So if you are interested, please do get in touch. Paul, what's the right email address?
It's nextleveltransformations@protonmail.com.
Cool. And I think, go on. Sorry, there was a break there.
Yeah, it was just two groups that we were looking at. It's the business people that Catherine's just described, but also it's growing a group of, if you like, worldwide coaches, consultants, trainers, people that could create really good content to use, and then go out and actually use that content with their clients to extend the journey. So we're really in a kind of a big bang opportunity here to go out and influence through a network of providers, as well as people that are looking for support and help to make that journey in their own businesses, new, existing, or old.
Fantastic. I think on the top of my head, I'm starting to think a webinar would be the first step towards this. You guys watching this, make sure you're on my email list. The web address for that is tmas.tv/Mark's email list. Fantastic 45-minute show. I know we haven't got time for more. We'll come back and do more, and we'll have a chat off air about, because it's time.
Yeah,
it is time to spread this. Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, Catherine. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thank you, everybody watching. Take care.
All the best.
Bye.
Bye.